Hey, look at that. I came a couple minutes late here, but I figured out how to do the smooth transition audio. Doesn't clip off right away. Figured that out in the last 2 seconds. Hello, welcome to the live stream for this Wednesday. We're getting 6 viewers here. Say hi and make sure my audio is still working. I believe it should be working. It should be coming through. You guys can hear me? Let me know in the chat. So, topic for today, teaching is hard. I couldn't really think of anything to talk about today because I've been so busy taking take care of my mom right now. Oh, Boa says audio sounds great. Cool. But I think it's safe to say I'm clinically addicted to 3D printing. Like literally, totally addicted to 3D printing. I've got now an Ender 5 Plus going about 24/7. I'm constantly running something on it. I've got a Anycubic photon resin printer, so I'm constantly running something on that, at least trying to. Although the resin printer is quicker, so I can actually get more stuff done. But I'm addicted to printing, and I love printing figurines and little artifacts and props and stuff like that. And just thinking, look at put the finger in his whole mouth there. But I wanted to learn how to do my own sculpting and make my own things. So I'm trying to learn Zbrush. And so I went to udemy.com, which is a nice source for relatively inexpensive courses on, how to do stuff. And I found this one Zbrush tutorial. I'm not going to name it because I'm going to kind of give them a hard time here. And it was like 35 hours on Zbrush and is highly rated, which whatever that means. And I started going through it and I just kept falling asleep, man. Because I would try to learn Zbrush like late at night. I would try to learn it, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, I'd start working on it. But the way the guy was teaching it, he was teaching it like I don't know how, I don't even think it would be useful in a real course. He would sit there and dedicate like 10 minutes of this video was explaining all the different menus and all the ways you can set up your palettes. And I'm thinking I'm doing this. I have no idea how to use ZBrush. Why would I know to put this palette here that it contains? I don't even understand what a palette, I don't know what goes in the palette. I don't understand how the brushes work. It is a terrible way of teaching. Now, it might be a very comprehensive way of teaching, but it was just bad. It was just really, really bad. And I struggled. I had like 5 different attempts to sit through. I even went ahead and sped it up to 1.75 speed just so I could get through his rambling. He's Eastern European, so he has some weird pronunciations like load tool. He would say lod tool, or UI, which is English U and I. He would say UI, stuff like that. Which I'm not faulting him. I like learning. Sure, it's okay. But it was so much time spent on like learning about menus and just, all the nitty gritty of interface stuff. And I have no idea how to even understand the program itself. So eventually last night I said, screw it. I'm not going to be able to get through this. And I found another course. And this guy, 5 minutes in, you're already you're already modeling. You're already sculpting something. Now you may not know exactly what you're doing yet, but you're at least getting your hands dirty. You're messing around and you're moving pixels around, you're moving meshes around, you're using Dynamesh and you're creating different shapes. And I feel like, holy moly, I'm almost like I've crossed that line to like, this program's not a mystery. I'm just starting to learn it. I'm just starting to learn all the different features and all the different functions and things you can do. And so I think it's the same kind of a thing with filmmaking. So, I think about filmmaking and teaching filmmaking a lot, because that's kind of what this channel has become. It is, in essence, many times a learning channel. And I do follow, against probably the advice of my better self, I follow a lot of Facebook forums and stuff like that, as far as like helping people with filmmaking. And I'm thinking to myself, the way we teach it is terrible. You shouldn't approach filmmaking, you shouldn't approach any subject, any creative subject, with this idea that you have to learn everything up front. You should start with getting your hands dirty and getting your fingers into the clay and manipulating it to get a feel for it. And then you start refining the skills as you go along. But if you stand back and like, I'm going to teach you about photography, here, watch my video on depth of field. We're going to talk about circles of confusion. Like, that's a horrible way to teach filmmaking, a horrible way to teach photography. You know, give a person a camera, here's auto mode, go out and shoot. And then you go out and shoot, and then you have fun, and you get into it, and you do it. And then you come back and say, well, you know, that my focus was a little funny, or I don't understand how to get a shallow depth of field. And then we can talk about circles of confusion. Then we talk about depth of field and all that kind of stuff. But, like, you can't put the cart before the horse. You got to get in there. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to get into the program, into the art, whether it's sculpting, whether it's filmmaking, whether that's watercolors, whether, you know, crayons even. You know, tell a kid, hey, you know, before I give you the crayons, I want to go through a 30-minute explanation about the chemistry of wax crayons, and then we'll understand how the pigments interact with each other. So you better understand how the blends of colors work. And we talk about paper texture. All right, you see the kindergartners looking at you going, I just want to color. Like, no. We need to understand paper texture. We need to understand the actual I don't know what's the term, the particle count. I don't know what do you call the paper. We need to understand the reflective nature of paper. So yeah. Anyhow, last night, this other tutorial, again, another Eastern European with a very strange accent to me, but this Eastern European got you sculpting like in the first 5 minutes. Like he's like, once you introduced the basics of the interface, here's how you zoom, here's how you rotate. All right, let's put a sphere down and let's start sculpting. And so we started, you know, building this little thing, and I'm feeling like, hey, I'm getting it. You know, again, I started at 9 o'clock at night, so I was like, well, I can't get too far into it before I'm going to fall asleep. But anyhow, that's what I discovered. Bo and Mike mentions a comment which is worth bringing up here. Let's see if I can get my vMix to work today. I think the problem is people who aren't dedicated teachers tend to forget what it's like to be a total novice. Let's see, did that come up? Is my vMix working today or not? Yeah, it did. Yeah, it's also, you know, and digital teaching is tough because you don't have a one-on-one, you know, like if you're trying to teach a class through just pure lecture with no interaction with the people, you know, learning Zbrush would be a lot easier if I was in a lab and, you know, like a bunch of other students and we were all sitting there, and then, you know, the teacher might give us like, okay, so today we're going to learn how to use this brush, and I'll build a sphere. Okay, now get the brush, and then, you know, like, hold on, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. So you find the brush, and then you start manipulating it. Like, teaching art in a real situation would probably be a lot easier because then the teacher could give you like a task. Like, okay, take your brush, we're going to make some marks on it this way, and I'll give you 5 minutes, and go ahead and you all do your thing and do it. You know, I think that would be cooler than, you know, teaching it online. Where it's just this guy talking, and he doesn't give you time to, so I have to pause the video and like mess around with it, and then go back and unpause it, and then, oh shoot, I missed a step. Where did he go? How did he get that tool? Oh, but you know, it's been a long time since I've actually tried to learn new software. Like I've been so deep into Premiere and After Effects. I mean, I learned those almost 20 years ago. 17 years ago is when I really became proficient in like After Effects, 16, 17. So I've been just gradually adding on my skill sets with After Effects. So I haven't been learning a brand new system. I guess I learned 3D Studio Max, you know, about 5 or 10 years ago. I'm still not very confident with it. But it's nice it's challenging. I guess I'm getting old. I'm getting old and getting the feel for it. Let's see. All right. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. Again, so right now, I mean, I'm taking care of my mom. She's gotten some health issues. I'm starting to find a rhythm of things. So hopefully we can get back into the things. Although, as I find my rhythm of things, I do a lot of work for school districts, and school districts are now coming to the end of the school year, which means awards programs and graduation. And I do video work for them, so I'm doing a lot of virtual streaming style. So that's what my last video, the streaming thing. like literally the day after I released the video, I had to do a stream for a school board, and now they're asking me to do a student of the year, which is going to be streamed as well. So I'm going to put exactly what I talked about in that video to use. And then I'm going to be doing the graduations, which were going to be pre-recorded, but they're going to record a ceremony. It's going to be crazy. So I'm not sure how much time I can do a Filmmaker IQ. I'd like to do more. I would try to keep doing these live streams because it's kind of a good thing for me to just talk it out. And thanks. And somebody was saying some nice words about my studio here, two-door. Thank you. This is my new studio, and the cool thing about I love the set tonight. The background today, I go through Adobe stock and I just kind of find random landscapes, and I particularly like this one. I like the way the trees kind of frame me, so it works out great. So yeah, so the studio. Somebody was asking about the studios. I do have the Fox one written, and I'd love to make it with this new set. I can do the film noir kind of background. I just have to put the time and effort right now, and I want to do that. I've got an idea for parody versus satire. I've got a whole board of stuff that I'd like to do, but again, I'm trying to find that rhythm of like what I can do that keeps me sane and productive. And at this point, I'm like, well, I'm not even worried about money. Oh, and then the other day, I was backing out of my parking space here in the studio, and this other guy who wasn't paying attention just ran right into me. And luckily, I'll just put my PSA out there. If you can set yourself up with a dash cam, it's worth its weight in gold. Because so I'm backing up, and this car comes in and hits me. That's my story, right? I don't have any proof. I just have his car rammed into mine, and his tow hitch, because he hit me with his tow hitch. His tow hitch experienced no damage. My car, the whole panel's bent in, right? And if I didn't have my dash cam, I sent the dash cam to the insurance companies, and the insurance yeah, that dash cam video pretty much proves it was his fault entirely. There was no fault of yours. And it was a situation where it's when he ran into me, he's like, well, you gotta watch where you're going. You're not faultless for this. I'm like, I'm not gonna fight it because you're my neighbor, but yeah, you kind of hit me. So yeah, dash cams, dude. So anyhow, the problem is that in order to repair that panel, because it's a humongous dent in the rear driver's side, it's going to cost more than it's probably the car's worth. So the insurance company's like, well, you could salvage it and sell it, and then maybe just get a new one. So I'm kind of thinking, maybe I need to pick myself a new vehicle. But then right now, everything's so expensive. You can't buy it. Anybody that's trying to buy a house, forget about it. Buy a new vehicle, ooh. So we'll see. I'm starting to look around, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm looking at the Ford Transits. I need a cargo van. I really do. When I first started my business, I worked for about 12 years without a maybe 8 years without a cargo van. I'm just running out of stuff out of my Camry. Tough. Cargo van makes life easier. You need to transport equipment, you just throw it in the back of a cargo van, you go. You don't have to play Tetris with your gear. Anyhow. Let's get to some of your questions, because this is still an AMA. All right, let's see here. Evan O'Shea asks, what is your process of making a video? I get super down when I hit speed bumps and find myself on a computer editing for hours. Yeah, so I have a superpower. Filmmaker IQ has given me a superpower, and I haven't talked about this a whole lot, but we used to do a lot of blogging. I had a partner in Filmmaker IQ who was kind of like an ideas person, but he didn't really do the work. Honestly, looking back at it, I had to do a lot of the work. I did a lot of grunt work, which included, at one point, I was posting 8 articles I would find a day. So I would be finding articles and then setting up every single day, 8 articles a day, 8 articles a day. Did that for a year. Then I did dailies, which I did individual articles about topics. I did that for a year. I developed a superpower, which is the ability to sit and do mundane tasks on the computer for a very long time. It's tough. I can do a mindless activity. If it's a mindless activity where maybe I could just throw a podcast on, or I can just listen to some music or watch some television or whatever, I can do that for hours. But if there's a minimal amount of creativity, but it's not super creative, then it kills me. It's really hard. If there's a lot of creativity, I can do that for hours. But yeah, I have a thing where I can, if it's a small task, I can do it repetitively. So how do you hit speed bumps? Well, sometimes what you do is I'm in the same boat as you, dude. I hit speed bumps and I find myself like just boggled, don't want to do it. Sometimes what you can do is just do something else. Like hit a speed bump, go around it, do something else, come back to the speed bump. And maybe once you do some other things, you come back and like, I can fix that. It's tough. Like I'll be honest, like I'm right now, my mental state is that it's very hard for me to do anything. So it's just hard. So I hear you, man. All right, K11 Film says, right now I'm working in a broadcast company and using vMix and VSet 3D, but I still feel the I feel I need more exposure and I'm not satisfied. Help in this. Well, if you need more exposure, you can always open your aperture. If you don't have an ND filter, you can take that off, or you can increase your shutter speed. So that's how you do it. Hope that's the answer that you were looking for. I had a feeling it wasn't. My Nick Cage pill reminded me of just saw Willy Wonderland. He doesn't say a single word, and I would think it's a weird movie, but it's an output. But with his output in recent years, it's right on par. I had Willy's Wonderland. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Still like this Inside Out figure. It reminds me when I'm editing. It reminds me of when I'm reading YouTube comments. This is my YouTube comments video. Charles Smith says, Art for All podcast episode 9. Let's get rid of art education. Really important discussion about rebooting pedagogy. I love that word, pedagogy. The art of creativity, deep insight, divergent brainstorming. Yeah, pedagogy is something that, you have to have art instruction. Like, I'm a musician, so I used to hang out a lot with music back in the old days, before the pandemic. I used to be around music folks a lot. I used to be part of the music program at the college. I'd volunteer in their band, so I was kind of familiar with the pedagogy of music, and you can't have art without art instruction. You need some sort of, especially music. Music, you definitely need some instruction. I'm sure acting probably in the same, a lot of people take acting classes. They find it very beneficial because it's a way to practice, and get feedback. But yeah, I have to listen to that Art for All podcast. There you go. Josh Coffin says, I heard many people say, do the hardest part first. That's true. And it's a psychological thing too, because if you do the hard part first, then the rest is easy, right? Whereas if you do the hard part last, you're always dreading it. So you're like, well, is it gonna come? And the thing I always find too is like, sometimes it's not as hard as you think. So what is my live stream setup? I am running through vMix. In fact, if you watch my live, how I set up a multicam stream, it's basically that. Only I'm not using the ATEM Blackmagic at all. I'm using vMix, a camera, my C70 going straight into a mirror box, into vMix, and out to YouTube. And then vMix is running the social stuff. Boa asked me, fellow musician, what instruments do I play? Oh, it stopped working. Of course. vMix, maybe I need to get the update. Maybe they fixed this. I play the trumpet as my primary instrument, and then I play French horn. I picked up the French horn because there's a lot of trumpet players in my area, and I figured, and there's not a lot of French horn players. I love playing musicals. Like that's my favorite thing, because it's sort of like the best of both worlds between music and acting and film. So musicals kind of like halfway, and I love musicals. So I learned how to play the French horn, which I'm not great at. I'm okay, and I'm probably okay enough to play some musicals if there's nobody better. I can play the French horn. Then I've tried to pick up a little accordion. I'm not very good. I can't do the both hands yet with the accordion. I used to play a little guitar. I was trying to learn bass, but never got to it. Honestly, I've lost my passion for music in the last year during the pandemic. I just haven't had any passion for music at all. Like, it's sad. It's nothing. It's just don't have anything. But that mistress may come back. I always think film is my wife and music is my mistress. I'm not married, so maybe I can get away with saying that. Film is what I love ultimately. Film, Although right now we're also in a rocky position, me and film. No, me. I mean, it's well, I've been estranged from film. I haven't been able to make stuff, you know. So I think it will all come back. It will all come back once things settle down a little bit. My auto zoom is better compared to recent live stream. I think it's because I set the focus. It's not an auto zoom as the focus issue. And it's the same camera, same autofocus. It's still on. It's just more centered. You know, what they call them monkeys in the gearbox. You know, some things happen. What is the picture on the cushion? I believe it's Nick Cage as a bunny. Who is the ideal filmmaker according to you? I don't think, if I said who, I think I would get in trouble. So I'll say it anyway. If we could take away some of the more nasty stuff, and I think it's Woody Allen. If we can get rid of the controversy, which I don't even want to get into because I feel like it's the same story and it's been dragged on for 30, 40 years. It's a shame. It's a shame, but that's kind of the Woody Allen to be closest to the person that I would like to be in as a movie maker. Now his life, a little weird. That's to say that's probably putting it mildly. He did some weird stuff, and I'm not even counting all the accusations. Like I believe honestly some of the accusations are a little bit untrue. Still, he did some weird shit. I'll put it that way. Yeah, Bo says he lost his drive for it as well, guitarist. I don't know why. Like the music just I don't, well, you know, for me, music was kind of the one thing I had in my life where it was a social thing. Cause I mean, I play, I'm semi-pro and I'm good enough to be paid once in a while, but I'm not good enough to like, I'm going to make this my main gig and like be super serious about it. And I was never, again, it's my mistress. It was never that in love with it that I wanted to dedicate my entire life to it. But, you know, playing gigs and going to the college and doing the college jazz ensemble was kind of the one night I had where I would go out and see people. Otherwise I'd be here hanging out in my studio, or I didn't have anything. And when that was over, it was like, okay. And I don't know. It's like I tried. I'll just admit this. I feel like I'm good, but I'm not good enough where people want to hire me. Like I'm really good, I think. I'm really good. But I'm not so good like people get excited about bringing me on board. So, and then when there's other people that are really that good, then I don't get the calls anymore. And that's kind of what happened. Like this one guy I'm friends with this guy. His name is Ron, and he's a fantastic player. He blows me out of the water like in every aspect. His tone is way sweeter. His ideas in jazz are way better than mine. His dad was the trumpet player for Warner Brothers Orchestra. Like his dad was like known throughout Hollywood. You know, and this guy's got a PhD in music, and he just is so freaking good. And I love playing with him because when I play with him, it's like I feel like we mesh so well together as like a duet. But like, why hire me when you can hire him? He's retired. He doesn't have anything to do, so hire him. And that's when I got like I didn't get any more calls after that. And I just I don't know. I feel like people. That's the way I feel like about the way I play, the way my musicality. I feel like I'm good. I think I'm really good, but I think nobody wants to hire me. Nobody wants to use me. Oh, well. So that's the way it is. Juho says, don't confess on a live stream. I'm not saying anything I wouldn't say in public. I know it's a live stream. Oh, there we go. Luke says, I've been in an old cinema in my city today, which is part of a Serbian film archive. I shot a movie for film school entrance exam, and for the first time in a projection room, one of the best experiences. Wow, that is cool, man. That is awesome. I envy you, man. I want to do that. For films, real audio is recorded on set or overdub everything. It depends on, honestly, how the industry is structured. You know, some traditions, like I know Chinese films overdubbed everything, because part of the reason is, you know, China has like hundreds of different dialects. You know, like I'm from Taiwan. I was born in Taiwan. My mom speaks Cantonese and Chinese Mandarin. I used to speak Mandarin. I don't speak Cantonese, never did. And then there's Hong Kong Cantonese. I mean, there's all these different, different dialects, which don't even sound alike. So sometimes they'll just shoot a movie and just not record the sound, and then just dub in the dialogue for whatever dialect they're going to sell it to the market to. Or sometimes it's just easier just to shoot it without sound and then just dub everything in. I know Hollywood tends to want to shoot everything on set, record sound. Quentin Tarantino has gone on the record. He's like, he really hates overdub, so he wants everything recorded audio. I know Nolan tries to do it, although on Tenet, maybe they should have overdubbed that part. Maybe they should have. So again, I think personally, I think that overdubbing can give you a lot of freedom. Trouble is, it becomes really obvious if you don't do it well, and it's really tough to do it well. It takes a lot of practice, I did it for that one video. People were like, I can still tell it's overdubbed. Yeah, because I'm telling you it's an overdubbed job. But, if the whole show is overdubbed, maybe not that bad. But it is difficult to do. It is very difficult to do. All right, Darren Orange. Okay, you're going to hit my topic, one of my favorite topics. Do you think that native 24 versus 23.98 created for NTSC conversion is visually noticeable or pointless? It's visually unnoticeable. You cannot see a one thousandth of a difference in frame rate. You really can barely see 24 and 25. There's a 50-50 chance. Well, not even better than 50-50 chance you can tell a difference. So there is no difference. The conversion is so simple that you don't need it is like I said, 1/1000th of a speed increase, and you're changing the audio from 48,000 hertz to 48,048 hertz. So it's really a minor thing. But yeah, I tell people over and over again, if you're shooting NTSC, you must shoot 23.98, 23.976. That is the frame rate, not true native 24. If you're an NTSC, if you're trying to go for television, don't shoot 24 straight. Now, are you gonna like destroy your project? No. But like I'm just tired of people like constantly bickering over like, oh, I can't stand this. I can't stand 23.976. You can't tell the difference. Rhythm Sengupta. I've been in India. I've been watching your channel for a long time. Have you watched any films of Satyajit Ray? What are your views on him? I've seen one of them I really liked. Was a short film. It was about there was like two kids. I can't remember the name of the film, but it was these two kids, and one kid was wearing like a Mickey Mouse hat. He was a rich kid, and the other kid was a poor kid who was playing like in the dirt with his like little toy, and then the rich kid's having a lot of fun. The rich kid's in this beautiful like apartment, and he's looking out into the street, and this little poor kid's playing. And the rich kid's like, oh, well, he's having fun. So he goes back in his mansion, beautiful apartment. He's got his like lollipop, and he's got like his beautiful toy. He just sits there by himself and just like, so it's kind of this cool little contrast. That was really cool. I wouldn't mind watching more. I'd like to watch some more of those films. I'm not really an art film guy. I do appreciate art films when I see them, but I don't have a attitude where like art film is way better. Like I would watch Godzilla versus King Kong, which we talked about last time, over like a snooty art film that was only moderately good. Like a moderately good art film versus like a Godzilla versus King Kong. I'd rather watch King Kong. I'd rather watch CGI things bash each other than watch like a pretentious art film. Now, if you gave me like a really, really world-renowned art film, like the Apu trilogy, I haven't gone through those. Like maybe that. Well, yeah, I watch that, but I'd still want to watch a King Kong. You guys, okay, Daniel Sowers, how was the episode of Studios? So the thing with the studios is that, to me, like from a economic sense, I think they're a total failure because no one's interested in them. However, you guys keep asking, which tells me that a lot of you guys really, really like that series. You just need to help me share that series more because it's good. Those numbers are so damn low. they're so painfully low because like I spend so much time on them and I get like nothing out of them. But there's a story that Scott Adams talks about when he was testing a TV show, and so what he was saying was the TV show tested favorably. It was like moderately favorable. Like everyone's kind of like, yeah, this is okay. But the television producer's like, that's not a good thing. So he's asking, why is it not a good thing? He says, well, we really don't want TV shows that are just average. We want TV shows that either a small minority gets really excited about, and everyone else is like, whatever. But if a small minority gets really crazy about it, then that we know that's a hit. So maybe that's the way I get approached with the studios. Like, even though I get like embarrassing low views for those, I need to actually like put some effort into actually finish them off, that series. Just create the rest of the series or cover all the studios, because it is long run. It is a really cool thing. So yeah, that's my insider input into the studios thing. I haven't done it yet though, so maybe I'll put that on my priority. Where can I hear you play some jazz? On this channel, I have me doing my own rendition of the Godfather theme, like a Godfather theme with a jazz twist to it. So if you check out my channel somewhere on there, Filmmaker IQ, there is a link. There is some me playing jazz. Do you use DaVinci Resolve? Crazy that it's free. No, I don't, because I hate that program. I mean, for color correction, I get it. Everyone tells me it's great. I'll give you guys all the benefit of the doubt. It's fantastic for color editing. And it's one of those things where I haven't learned how to do that kind of level of color editing. But it is absolutely trash for editing. I hate it for editing, and I can't wrap my mind around it. And Adobe is, I don't care. Everyone complains about, oh my God, it's so much money a month. You guys don't. Everybody that complains about how much Adobe costs, you aren't professionals. You don't know what it's like to be a professional, because it is a small price to pay. Considering back in the day, we used to have to shell out thousands of dollars for Adobe every like 2 years for an upgrade. T-Lax says, would you like to direct a Marvel or DC movie? Yes. I would like to direct any movie you tell me. I will direct anything. I would love to get back into directing, and as soon as I can, I think I'll try to direct a short film, because I need to get back into this. It's not that I miss, there's something missing in my life. I would love to have some more. I've gone, except for Filmmaker IQ, I've gone like years since I've actually shot and edited something that I wrote or someone wrote. You know, I've shot a lot of documentary. I am so effing sick of documentary, editing documentary. I am so sick of it. Although I'm getting really good at it. I won't lie. Like, I can sit there so right now I'm doing Student of the Year programs, and what I'm trying to do is I captured all these Zoom meetings throughout the year, and I want to pull like a 10-second clip for like a highlight reel of all the students that spoke. So I've and these kids, sometimes they're not professional speakers. So I'll find something, but then I'll listen to it and like, okay, this part I can move it over here and move it over here. Blah, 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 blah. I do it like really fast. I can do them really fast. But I'd like to be able to edit something that I can write. All right. Josh Kaufman says, are some upload codecs that have less audio latency for YouTube? There isn't an audio latency. It's a mux. They call it a mux issue with YouTube. There is not. So basically, so when you're referring to my video about how YouTube adds a frame of latency to everything it encodes. Excuse me. The problem is when you encode like from Premiere, I'm not sure if DaVinci may not do this, but Premiere will introduce like 11 millisecond delay because of the way the audio is encoded and then attached to the video. It introduces a delay anyway. So to avoid that, you can upload a ProRes file. So if you upload a ProRes is uncompressed audio, and it won't be delayed. It won't introduce any latency. But then once YouTube gets it, it's going to add its own latency. So there's nothing you can do about that other than correct for it in an edit. Is it entirely necessary? Yeah, it might be. Again, it's YouTube. People are going to watch it on their phones. They're going to watch it all. They're going to watch stuff in, put it in the car. I shouldn't, but I'll put a podcast in the car, and the voice going through my Bluetooth audio, it's 6 frames off. Who knows? It's huge. Derek asks if 3023.98 and is still 24 physical frames, so it's going to look identical. It's going to look identical. It's not just the time code readout thing. It is actually the clock is set to. So 23976 is actually adjusted to a clock that's 60 frames, 59.94 frames per second. So the clock is slightly different. But it's not so. Whereas 24 is set to like a 60 clock, 60 even clock. So the clocks are again a thousandth of a ratio off, not in frames per second, but a thousandth off. Again, like people, you overestimate how your ability to detect things. Like the brain, the eye cannot tell the difference. It can barely tell between 24 and 25. As I said, it takes you all the way to 26 before you can say, oh, I think there's a slight difference. And again, it'll be very, very slight. So little tiny things you can't tell. Boa asks, you mentioned Woody Allen and curious thoughts in general about separating artists from their work. I don't know how to even approach that because I understand it. Look, if the artist does something and you are so disgusted by it, or it influences your opinion of the artist in such a great deal, there's no way you can approach the work objectively. I hate that. I hate the use of the word objective, so I'm not going to use it. There's no way to approach the work in the same light. If I'm looking at this painting, like, oh, this is a cool painting. Hey, the guy that painted that was Hitler. Oh, well, shit. There's no way you can separate it. There is no way. What I can also maybe attribute, like, especially with something like Woody Allen stuff, is like, can I find something useful or good out of the Woody Allen movie that is different from the person that created it? Yeah, I guess I could. But again, well, like I said, I'm playing both sides of the fence here because I still would like to watch Annie Hall and still love Annie Hall. Again, the thing is, I'm not. My point with Woody Allen's, I'm not convinced that all the stuff that he's accused of has happened, because there should be more stories about what's going on with him, but there aren't, I just don't think. I think that story has been dragged on for years and years. I don't necessarily buy all the stuff that happened with him, but then again, he does some creepy stuff. So, can I separate it? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know. I think maybe it's one of those things where it's like every individual case. Can you do that? The story that keeps coming back to my mind is The Expanse. So I love that show, The Expanse. The guy that played the Martian captain, or the ship pilot, Kaz Avner, got into some serious trouble, because he started. Basically, there was some stories about how he was harassing women on the set of The Expanse, some crew members. And, when you first hear a story like, maybe it's he said, she said, who knows. But then stuff started coming out about him. Like, people are just coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, he was trying to coerce me into sex, and he knew I was a minor, kind of stuff like that. You're like, ooh, that's not good. And he got fired from the show, killed off in the series itself. Can you go back? Well, in that situation, he was not the creator of the show, so you can go back and watch it. He was just playing a character. He was just a hired hand. So I don't know. It's tough. Look, I can't take a firm stance on anything, because my personality. I just have to kind of like find my way through it. So anyhow. I know, I've been avoiding your comments because I had to cover that topic. All right. I watched a few great scenes like Stargate from 2001, Space Odyssey, beginning of the Seventh Seal, under excuse of it's necessary for my movie. You can write all that off as a tax deduction. That's what I do. Larry Wilkerson says, novice and starting out, just want to take this time to thank you and all you contribute. Thank you. Rigel 7 says he loves the studio series. Okay, I will go back and do it. I will go back and finish them. Bender, do you have any advice for someone who really, really wants to make movies but feels totally overwhelmed by the fractured nature of online media and growing feeling that no one cares about film? No, I have no advice for you. I'm sorry. I'm in the same boat. I'm in the same feelings too. Like, you know what's weird? Okay, now that we're late in the stream and the only people that are watching are people that really care about the show. Have you noticed that all the old tech channels and all the old like smart channels and learning channels have all kind of either like melted away or I'll give you an example. Vsauce. I love Vsauce. I used to love Vsauce. I don't think he does much of them anymore. He did this thing with YouTube Red for a while, which was kind of a long form, but they became kind of very, very, very corporate, I guess. I don't know how else to say it. Not that like guy on the ground. I'm going to make a Vsauce here. I'm going to make a video about, a topic and just wander about. I just feel like a lot of these channels, Veritasium is another example. They've gotten very, very corporate, and that becomes less like personal and more. I was watching this video. I guess he put out. I feel like I've seen this a while ago. Maybe it was a repost. But they're talking about the speed of light and how they measure it, and it's always measured as a two-way speed of light. And he called up the guy from Smarter Every Day, and it felt, and they just had a little conversation, and it was a try to be portrayed as I'm just calling my buddy up, and we're going to talk about this topic, but it felt so inauthentic. I don't know why. I appreciate the content; it's great, and the surface level is super polished. It's wonderful. It's brilliantly made. Just feels inauthentic to me. I don't know. Maybe my authenticity radar is just super high right now. I don't know. It's funny when I watch 4K high quality channels like Linus Tech Tips, the latency is unwatchable. I wonder, is that how are you watching it? Is the question. Are you watching it through like a Bluetooth speaker? That might be it. Rigel 7 says I met the Canon C300, fantastic camera, really easy to use. Yeah, the Canon. I can't lie, man. The Canons, the C300, CT100. I'm shooting with the C70 right now. There's no question about the ease of use is remarkable. C70, it's a little more consumery than I like. I'll give it that. I'll knock it that because the touch buttons are a little more like placed on the screen. But again, it's like a third of the cost of the C300. C200, I still love that camera. It unfortunately is sitting there. The C270 with the what you call it, the smart the adapter that shrinks the image. I forget, Speed Booster. Their version of Speed Booster is. I love the image. And I love this. I can get a slightly more soft depth of field here on the set, so that's why I use it actually. Oh, there you go. Jolette says, you've been teaching high school filmmaking online all year with most students having no equipment. Well, you guys use my channel. They have phones. That's all the equipment you need to start. That's all I'm asking for people to do is just get out there and start. Start making a film. Make it, the blink of an eye guy, Walter Murch, said in the future, and I think it's already happening now. It's already happened because of the pandemic. Every student, by the time they graduate high school, will have to have made a film of some sort, a video. So every student needs to understand some basics understanding of cutting. I think that's true. If you are forced to write, then you should be forced to edit together a video report. Whether that's like a talking head, news report, journalist, whatever. Every student should be required to make a film of some sort. I think that's the truth. And I think for media, latent media literacy, that is absolutely key. That every student needs to at least make some sort of video throughout their high school career. And I think it's already happening now. I don't think there's a kid in high school that doesn't get through school without having to make some sort of video, especially now during pandemic years. T-Lac says, 20 years ago, I was a cutter with avid media composer for a German TV station, and I left because the media scene after some years want to realize a short film now. Any editing program ideas? Premiere, Resolve, for if you want a free choice. I mean, I hate it for editing, but hey, people use it, so go for it. That's cool. I would say that if you're on a Mac side, maybe Final Cut. I'm not a Mac user, so Final Cut's not out of the option. Pedro says, just as you said about Vsauce, more like 10 years ago, I would have watched a tutorial from a guy and the video started being his everyday life. 2 minutes of the tutorial for what he did. That was enough. Yeah. I remember watching Andrew Kramer's video on like this one effect that he was doing. He had a bad case of this. He was like, so I'm going to show you this effect, but then I want to tell you about my golf game. So I was out golfing and I took a swing and boy, it's like, it's not a podcast. It's a tutorial. Get to the effing point. Charles Hoppin, thank you for the super chat, man. All right, let's read this out loud. Celebrate my second COVID-19 vaccine. I know this won't cover your hourly rate, but oh, thank you. I want to sponsor you moving the studio series to the top of the list of things to do when I feel like it. Okay, man. Just because of that, I'm going to crack open that script tonight. I'm going to rewrite it tonight. We're going to get this thing shot. We're going to do this thing. So Fox it is, man. Fox it is, and then we'll probably do like either MGM or United Artists. Maybe United Artists is such a different story. All right, I'm going to hold me to that, man. We'll do it. We'll do it. Studios it is. Like I said, a lot of passion behind that those series of videos. Let's do it. What is missing in nowadays cinema? I think escapism. I want to see more escapist stuff. I'm just tired of I don't want reality stuff. Like the thing when the pandemic was going on, the thing that and a lot of people were pushing like, hey, check this out. We're shooting this video. We're socially distant. We're shooting this as if it was on a Zoom screen. And I thought, I do not want to watch that. I hate that idea. I do not want to watch people on screens because that's my life already. I don't want that. I would love to see a love movie, a love story again. Because I'm single and I like to live vicariously through the people on screen. Hey, that's a handsome looking guy. That's a beautiful woman. And they're gonna first of all, they're going to hate each other because that's the way it is. The boy meets girl. Boys are, oh my God, what a terrible lady she is. But they secretly love each other. They secretly are infatuated with each other. But they do things to each other that are mean and spirit. But ultimately, they do fall in love. Human stories, man. I love to see that. Escapism. That's why I like musicals. I watched She Loves Me, which is on Broadway HD. I saw the show way back when I was in college. She Loves Me, which is based on which looks like You've Got Mail, is kind of a loose adaptation of that play. Play became a musical. Basically, yeah, it's a story about a girl comes in for a job at the perfume store, and the girl's been secretly having this love affair through the mail, like a correspondence thing. With this other dude who happens to be the guy at the store, but first off they hate each other because she's kind of a jerk to him and he's kind of a jerk to her, and so there's a big catty. Starred Zach Levi from Shazam. Shazam was the guy, and then had Jane Krakowski. Jane Krakowski, holy moly, man, she is like the sexiest one of the sexiest women. She's got to be she's like 50 or something like that, but she's so gorgeous. I love me some Jane Krakowski. Oh my God, I love her. From like the girly show from 30 Rock, like she's just so good. I would love to marry Jane Krakowski. There we go. I was gonna say it. I know she's married, but open invitation. Oh my gosh, Corey Booth, you guys. So we use training in the Navy to train new recruits. I still use it today. Media production. Oh well, thank you. Glad to serve the country. Hope I didn't offend you by trying to pull a salute. Didn't mean anything by that. But yeah, stay safe out there, and good luck on the high seas there. Let's see. Oh, well, let's answer. So T-Lax says, thanks for your answer. I still have to find a team. This is holding me back. I know. That's life, man. Teams are hard. Teams are hard to put together because everybody's got their own life. They all want to do their own thing. It's hard. So what you gotta do, unfortunately, is kind of just take the helm and just do it yourself. Like, be the captain. And I believe that everything in this world requires like a very strong, heady captain. Like, especially art world movies. Like, you need somebody who's gonna just captain the shit out of this thing. You know, just gonna drive it down the road. Films cannot be a democracy. It doesn't really work. I mean, maybe you can have a small like co-op of people that want to do stuff together. Maybe. But at the end of the day, it's one person captaining the thing and seeing it, ushering it to the end of the project. If you don't have that, especially if there's no money, it languishes and doesn't do anything. Yeah, Rossatan says, I shot something in December around COVID and it sucked. We didn't have any masks in the story. I also have a rule. If you're on camera, you do not wear a mask. You do not wear a mask on camera. Unless you're like the health official. I mean, I do a lot. So I do a lot of like city videos and announcement videos and stuff like that. And my approach is always, if you're on camera and you're not close to anybody, you don't wear a mask, because what's the point? If you're masked and you're socially distant. Now I get if the health officials have to wear a mask because it's like it's communicating like, hey, we're wearing a mask because we're asking you to wear a mask, so we're going to wear a mask. I get that. But every other case, if you're on camera and you're socially distant, there's no point to wearing a mask. It's stupid. So, anyhow. Now you're making me wonder how they are shooting porn in those days. In those days or these days? Maybe with masks? Maybe it's just it's like two bubbles, and like there's a little protrusion in one of the bubbles, and it's like they come around. Hey there, sexy! I'm here to fix your plumbing. Bounce. Okay, we're gonna go there. How about a movie where Kat Dennings plays dual roles and they fad mad cute love? That would probably break box office records, because I would probably be generating half of the revenue to see that movie. Like, Kat Dennings I love Kat Dennings. I've loved her for a long time. The problem with Kat Dennings' career, and I get it, CBS paid a lot of money for Two Broke Girls, right? Two Broke Girls probably made Kat Dennings so that she never has to take a job again in her life. That made so much money for her. But Two Broke Girls is the worst, I'm going to swear, fucking show ever created. It is disgusting. I've watched that show and I've thought to myself, how did someone get paid to write this shit? It is so unfunny and so terrible. Like, people give shit for Big Bang Theory, and I kind of like Big Bang Theory because it's got, at the core, it's got some cuteness, it's got some clever writing, it's a little bit, it's obviously a lot on the nose, but Two Broke Girls takes the fucking shit. It is fucking awful. I'm cursing because that's how deeply pained I am because of that show. And Kat Dennings, who I love, poor thing, had to suffer through that show. And I had a friend who was a stand-in, who's a background actor on that show. He played a priest. My friend Thurman, who's been on this channel, I've in my blood video, I killed him off many times. He played a priest when, like, what's her name from the Love Bug? I can't think of her name right now. Chat will know. She gets married, like, she's walking down the aisle, but she's got like cold feet. She's walking down the aisle with a veil on, something, and then like they take the veil off and it's not the girl, and she's like, ee hee hee. It's like, this is so. And so my friend Thurman, who's in it, his whole job is, he plays the priest that's officiating the wedding. His whole job is to go, and I'm like, that's how I feel about the whole show. I'm glad he got paid pretty handsomely for that job. I hope he did. I never talked about how much he got paid for it, but I hope he got a good check from that, because I hate that show. Oh my God! All right, Brian T. Thanks for the super chat. I'll read it out loud. Somebody might have already asked, but what is your first experience with editing in a computer? Oh my God, we're gonna go into this. What software operating system was that on? I'm excited for the next studio series of it. Okay, so you guys all love the studios. I will do the studio. Okay, that's priority number one. I'll work on that as my primary next video. Okay, so the first edit I've ever done. The first thing I ever edited was hooking up 2 VCRs together and then hitting stop and hitting record on the other. So literally linear editing was my very first. I was like 8 years old. 2 VCRs. All right, no, I had a camera and a VCR, and the camera could record to it. So I would hook it up and then I would hit. I would do that. That was my very first editing as a kid, like 8 years old. That was the first thing I did. Didn't do any filmmaking until I was in high school. Started doing a lot of 3D Studio Max. I loved 3D Studio Max. I was working on like a Pentium 5, would have been a Pentium 5 processor. I don't know how many megabytes of RAM. 32 maybe? Maybe 16 or maybe 32. Somewhere in there. And I was working with 3D Studio Max, and 3D Studio Max had this ability to render out stuff. And so I would render out this video and be like, hey, I like that video. But 3D Studio Max is a way to do a track editor. So you would say, okay, from 0 frames to 35 frames, I want this file. And from 35 frames to 175 frames, I want this file. So that was my first editing experience, was through 3D Studio Max, assembling videos together by the frame count. That's my first thing when I was like 16 years old. So I made a video that way, and I thought, wow, this is really awesome. I love video editing. So my dad's like, okay, well, let's see if we can get to some software that's actually made for video. So I did that. I did this weird clunky thing for like a few months, and then my dad got me Pinnacle. Pinnacle Studios was my first editor that I worked with. Yes, I cut a couple videos with that. And then I graduated eventually to Premiere. I started Premiere 18, 19 years old. That's when I started working with Premiere 5.0 or 5.5, I think it was at the time. So that's one of my first editing software. So yeah, on Windows, I was always on a Windows machine. But that's going back to 1998, 99, 2000 is when I kind of started. So that's it. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. All right, so I made, and Leash says, I made some shorts before, but now I want to do sketches on YouTube. What do you think is a good approach to saturating market? There is never a good approach. The only approach is the whole world, the thing is, so YouTube is saturated. There's no question about it. There's millions of videos on YouTube, and millions of videos get uploaded every single hour, right? But how many Ahish Saxena videos have ever been uploaded? 0. So you own that market. You own the Ahish Saxena, and I'm sorry I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm sure I am. But you own that market. You own the market of your product. So it's not oversaturated. Just don't try to copy and make something that everyone else is doing. Make what you want to make. And then maybe you'll find an audience. Like my studio's videos, which small audience, but you guys are rabid, and I will make more. We will make some more. Okay. Boa Mike says I should do a stream where I critique viewer videos. That's a dangerous thing to do. Very dangerous, because one, they can be offended by some of it, because I can rip the shit out of things. I can get super, super like critical. Although I feel like I'm critical but fair, because I always try to look at it from like what does the person there trying to make it, how could they improve it, blah 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 blah. It's difficult, it can be like a minefield of dangerous things. Like you have to be ready to tear it apart. Maybe we should do that again. I gotta keep playing with right now I'm trying to find a level thing, but maybe we could do that. Like if you have a short 5-minute film, we could I'll put it out there like a live critique. We'll sit here and maybe I'll throw it in Premiere and look at it, and we'll talk about like what we can do. We'll watch it like several times. We'll do like a live stream version of it. Like take it 2 hours and just go through a video. Maybe. Rigel says, "Don't hold back, John." You're probably referring to my rant about Two Broke Girls. So many shows don't have a heart. I don't know what was the Two Broke Girls. I don't know what the hell was up with that show. I think I only got this angry when I had to watch 2 episodes of The Goldbergs. I haven't seen that one. Would I like to work with the Corridor guys? Would they like to work with me? Is more the question, because I'm up for working with everybody. You know, the Corridor guys are a little more. They're more cool than I am. Like I feel I'm of the age, and I don't think the Corridor. I think the Corridor guys are a little younger than me. They come off that way. But I feel like I'm at the age where I'm not cool. I've never been cool. I've always been the nerd. I've always, my entire life, been the fat nerd who sits in the corner eating his seaweed snack. I've never been popular and cool. I don't think I ever will be. Whereas look at the Corridor guys, and I think those guys are popular and cool. Like I don't think they want to hang out with like an old kind of like, I don't know what I am. But, I don't know, that's just me. Again, people are sending me chats and it's like, sorry, this is not meant for you. Meant for somebody else. I used to see, I was on a cinematography subreddit. God, that sub sucks. So many negativity and putting down beginners who are just starting there. I feel bad who came there looking for answers. Reddit in general is pretty awful. So the video I did on Yellow a couple weeks ago, I released on Yellow. That started from that cinematography subreddit, because that subreddit, somebody was saying that the reason why Yellow was chosen was because it looked best in black and white. And I said, well, by the 90s, because we're talking about the 90s, it's like by the 90s, most people didn't have black and white TVs. And then it became like, who the hell are you to tell me that? I was a quality control thing, and you have no clue what you're talking about. Who raised you? Who raised you to be such a nincompoop? I mean, holy shit. It was so bad. And I was like saying, and I was just thinking, you know, like that kind of got me to think, well, my point was, it wasn't because black and white. Because if black and white was the issue, you would just use white subtitles. You wouldn't use yellow. That's what caused me to make that video. So yes, the cinematography subreddit is awful. Most of the subreddits are awful. Reddit in general is just shit. It's horrible. I do read a lot of it. I'm sort of addicted to it, but you have to take a grain of salt and like realize a lot of this is terrible. Is it Tim 24 frames says, I love you, by the way, love that name. Is it worse than 2.5 Men? Yes. 2 Broke Girls is worse than 2.5 Men. 2.5 Men, yeah, not great. I'm not a fan of the show. Not crazy about it. But no, 2 Broke Girls is worse. Nico Dan says, what would you say is your why of filmmaking? Like the source of the intent as expressed. Like what is the source of your intent as expressed through art? I don't know. All I know is I have a little bit of that Spielberg, what drove Spielberg to make films when he was a kid, which is basically you make something cool so you can watch it over and over again. That's kind of what I enjoy about filmmaking. So I make something cool so I can see it over and over again. It's morphed into kind of a communication thing. Like part of my filmmaking is to communicate something, a feeling. Tilak says, from one fat nerd to another, we are cool in our own little way. In my high school, I was a nerd, but I was never picked on. Maybe because of my size. Maybe because like I was intimidatingly big. Like when I was in middle school, like I was playing a PE and we were playing basketball, and this one jock decided he wanted. I don't know if he wanted to push me around or something like that. And we were playing basketball, so he rushes at me, and I'm like, coward. He goes straight into my shoulder. Right? He like full blast, boom, right into my shoulder. Now, me being a big kid, I don't move. What happens when you run to something that doesn't move? You get hurt. So this jock guy I broke his ribs. I broke his sternum because he went full barrel into my shoulder. And I was like, well, you ran into me, dude. I wasn't like, I'm sorry you got hurt. It wasn't like mean or anything. She wasn't like picking a fight with me or anything like that. But yeah, so I was never picked on. as a kid. My high school, I think probably this is in Southern California at least. High school's kind of shifted. Like the smart kids are kind of the cool kids in high school. Around at least what I'm familiar with. Like it's not a jock versus nerd anymore. It's more like because most of the nerds are actually jocks too. Like most kids that are like 4.5, 4.8 GPAs, they're doing track. They're doing football. They're doing baseball. You know, they're doing the sports. They also are doing AP. They're like freaking overachievers, right? I do student of the month programs, and these guys that come in student of the month, they do all of this stuff. So it's not really a jock nerd anything anymore. It's not like you know Revenge of the Nerds anymore. It's a totally different environment. What city am I in? I am based out of Temecula, which is halfway to hell. Well, no, it's the old saying is halfway. It's between heaven and hell, or something. I don't know what it is. Temecula. It is. Temecula is kind of the. Temecula is sort of the Florida man of California. So I'm halfway between LA and San Diego. Like I'm closer to San Diego than LA, but I'm easy within like an hour drive of either. What's worse than this is another show based on an adult guy talking about his childhood in the 50s. Oh, I can't remember. Was that what's the name of that show? I follow the girl on that show, Winnie. I want to say, why am I saying Stranger Things? It's not Stranger Things. It's Wonder Years. I kind of liked Wonder Years. Boy, that girl from Wonder Years, she's so gorgeous. My God, she's gorgeous. I love this. Reddit is trash, full stop. Absolutely. Although I do occasionally like to read trash. Mikey Atlas says, I heard that in college for film you have to write 2,000 word essays. Is that right? 2,000 word essay, I could do that in my sleep. Oh, that's okay. Charles Hoffman says, halfway to hell's the right city slogan. The slogan for the bumper sticker for Temecula was, where the hell is Temecula? It's halfway to heaven, or something right next to heaven. That's what the old bumper sticker was. Just goes to show you my technical veracity. Oh, the 502 show had David Cross in there. I'm not sure the 502. Right 9D says, I liked Wonder Years when I was 12 and I haven't watched it since. Yeah, I remember when when I was 12. Yeah. Oh, not the Wonder Years. The more recent had to be supposed to be a comedy. Oh, okay. I didn't realize you were talking about something else. You know, it's kind of funny. So I brought this up with my friend Joe the other day when we were doing a stream for the school district, not here. But kids these days don't watch TV. You know, I mean, they watch YouTube, they watch podcasts, they watch Twitch. They don't watch TV the way we used to watch TV. Like all you people probably are old enough to know Nick at Night. You would turn, Nickelodeon at nighttime would show classic reruns, Wonder Years, Gilligan's Island. Man, oh man, I grew up on Gilligan's Island. Now here's this tale of a fun. I can't. Don't ask me to remember anything on stream. I can't do it. Yeah, here's a tale of a field trip. Whatever. Anyhow, so Gilligan's Island. I love Gilligan's Island. I loved. We even had Brady Bunch. All these old shows that I was not alive for their initial, broadcasts, but they lived on with Nick at Night. Nowadays, kids don't watch that. These shows are dying, I think, right? Victor Bart, welcome. So he said grew up with A-Team and MacGyver. Yeah, there you go. But, I mean, if you have YouTube and you have a constant stream of new things to watch, why would you watch old TV shows? So I feel like, there it is, sit right back and hear a tale of a fateful trip. It started on this puppet board, aboard this tiny ship. I think I missed a line in there. But yeah, if you don't have all these old TV shows, like we have a friend named Tim who was growing up. He was a Boy Scout, so he was always camping and doing cool things. Not like us kids that were stuck at home watching Nick at Night. Like he's not familiar with Gilligan's Island. Never watched Gilligan's Island. I'm like, how can you not watch Gilligan's Island? And nowadays the kids like Gilligan's Island. What's that? Well, it's kind of like Lost, but it's a comedy. What's Lost? Like, God, you don't know. Our culture is gone. And we're going to sit there and say our culture is no more because these aren't watching the trash TV shows that we watched. Me TV, yeah, there's an example of a channel that actually shows stuff like that. My mom used to watch that a lot. I used to, because it had a whole bunch of old shows. Not that she was familiar with old shows, but it was just kind of like stuff that was pleasant to have in the background. So yeah, it's weird. All right, well, it is kind of wrapping up here. It is 1:12. I've been on for about, I think, an hour or so. Let's see, you guys are coming back. Yeah, so if this, I think this time works pretty good. I'm just waiting for some of the chats to come through here. Let's see here. Radio says, when I was a kid, the guy from Danger Bay showed up at the Blanche's date on Golden Girls, and it blew my mind. Man, I don't know what Danger Bay is, so that I miss. I never really watched the Golden Girls either. That was old people video. I used to watch Small Wonder on Saturdays. They would rerun Small Wonder, and I watched Mr. Belvedere. And T-Bone. Was it T-Bone Pickens? Was the T-Bone Pickens sang the song, and you would recognize him from Elf because he sings the male part from Baby It's Cold Outside. So Derek Lufton says, am I a fan of Mystery Science Theater? Yes, I am. Although, I mean, there's only so much of it you can take. You can, once in a while, it's good. It's good in small doses, but I couldn't sit through a whole, 5 hours of it. So, but anyhow, I've been on for about an hour. Let's try to keep these down to an hour. People can watch these things. Small Wonder was a huge hit here. Oh. Yeah, Small Wonder, I had a crush on the girl that played the robot. You kids that don't know Small Wonder, you'll never understand. Vicky was her name on Small Wonder. Yeah, she was cute. I really liked her. I can say that because I was a kid at the time too. I thought she was really cute. So, yeah. So anyhow, I gotta wrap it up because I gotta get some lunch here and take care of some business. And we will work. I'll work on that studios video. I promise you guys. You guys are saying I need to do it, so I need to do it. Let's put some music on here. Head on out. Alrighty. There we go. Here's the music. So yeah, I will be back here next Wednesday unless things go weird and funky. And we'll do sometime next week, but at least I'll try to do Wednesday. And I think the time was working good for 12 o'clock, or we may do it earlier. We'll see. And until next time, guys, check out the Patreon, check out the filmmaking, check out the videos, watch old videos. Why not? Watch the studios again. Why not? Until next time, dude, we will see you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.